I had no money, so little money that I didn't even run my heat in my house because it cost too much. I couldn't afford it. If you don't know what you want to do, getting out of high school, do a trade. Whether it be mechanics, welding, plumbing, carpentry, because those jobs are never going away.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to this week's episode. This week I have none other than my own younger brother on, Matthew LaVan. He's with us today, and we talk about a few things I think might be pretty important to a large audience, a large crowd, and that's we're talking about pinching pennies with the heat and sleeping in a bathtub. Well, that second part's more specific than others, but talking about being mindful with where your money is going and how you spend your income to support yourself when you're just moving out of the old parents' house. Thinking you have life figured out, but realizing you really don't. We touched on this because Matthew thought he had his life all figured out, just to then figure out a year later than he initially realized. There's a lot more to life. Getting that little bit of experience, a little insight, really puts life into perspective, even within a small, short time, like 6 months to a year. And then also we talk about him joining the Air Force. About a year ago, my little brother joined the Air Force, and that's where he is actually at right now. He's over in Japan, and so he was on leave, and I was able to snag him for a quick 3-hour little get together here at my place, and we got to shoot his episode of the podcast that I'm working on here, and I'm really glad he was able to spend the time to do that. We had a lot of fun. And then stay tuned till the end because we are arm wrestling, and it's a thing where my little brother always beats me, and I'm never going to be able to win, but maybe things are changed in this episode because I've been hitting the gym. Yes, I still have the mustache, and I already told you in the last episode that I'm probably going to have this for the foreseeable future of these intros and outros, but let's get on into it. This is Matthew LaVan, Growing Up Show. Look at that. We're officially live.
Oh yeah.
Everything you say is on record.
Can I call my lawyer first?
You have a lawyer?
Yeah.
Sounds like that's
the Airman Defense.
Like you don't have a lawyer.
The Airman Defense Council.
Welcome, guys, back to the Growing Up Show. My name is Michael LaVan, and today I have none other than my brother, who will introduce himself here in a bit. I wanted to have him on because I thought it'd be super cute. That sounds weird. It'd be such a cool thing to, like, in a month or so when I have all these videos done and out that because he's in the Air Force, let him talk about that later, but he's going to be going back to Japan, and I think it'd be cool for our parents to, like, stumble upon this podcast, seeing their two sons just hanging out and, having some coffee and talking. So this is for you, Mom and Dad.
Love you.
So Matthew LaVan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, good to be here.
Awesome. I already walked you through, like, the premise of the show and how it, who I have it geared towards
right.
People who just don't have life figured out, which is everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So what I like to do to start things off is have you tell us who you are right now, so then we can walk through the beginning to now.
All right.
So Matt, who are you?
So my name is Matthew LaVan. Middle initials an A for Alan. So right now I'm in the United States Air Force, active duty. My job over there is what they call a 2T2 air freight. So I just upload and download planes, and I get to drive a whole bunch of stuff and see a bunch of cool things. And really, that's just about it right now.
That's awesome.
Just going day to day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this was you recently decided to join the Air Force, right?
Yeah, I've only been in for just over a year.
Man.
Just over a year.
Yeah.
5 more to go.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah. It's like, wait, don't we both serve? So that's who you are right now.
Right.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
21, that's right. I knew that before, yeah.
Before the camera.
Yeah. So can you then walk us through, like, who you, like, younger little Matthew in high school or wherever the story kind of starts? We were talking earlier that you actually kind of had an idea of what you want to do with life at a very young age.
Right.
And so can you walk us through that?
All
and
right.
all the way up until now, your whole story.
All right. So whenever I was in 4th grade, it starts all the way back there. I I saw my grandpa up in the garage one day doing something that I've never seen being done before. So I walked up to him and I asked him what he was doing, and he said that he was welding. And I had no idea what welding was, so I asked him to explain it to me. And Grandpa, being the old man that he is, couldn't explain it to me. So I go back home and I asked Dad about it, and it turned out that's what Dad did at work at the time, and that he had a welder in his shed. So Dad kind of introduced me into welding, and I knew ever since then that that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a welder. So I knew in 4th grade what I wanted to do.
And ever since then, you were the favorite child.
Ever since then, because I had my life figured out. 4th grade.
Pound the metal.
So skip ahead to high school. In high school, I knew that with my job, I didn't have to be, super good at any of the, sciences or reading or English or anything like that. So I just, did as little as I could to get by, and then went to Votech. And when I was in Votech, I just aced everything. I mean, I was on the honor roll every time for Votech. I was the class president, the class vice president. I was student of the quarter, student of the week. I mean, I was pretty good over there. Everybody liked me, and graduated there with honors. And after that, I started working at a little tiny, pretty much mom and pop welding shop in Knox. And I wasn't making terrible money, pretty good for someone just out of high school. But I knew that as a welder with my skill level, I could have done something a lot better. But nobody wants to hire a 18-year-old right out of high school with no experience. So I started saving up money, and I went to welding school. And I passed welding school with like a 93% or something like that. I did pretty good at that. And whenever I came back, a job opened up in Pittsburgh. I applied for it. They were really interested in me, and I got it. And I was making, quite a bit
For a 19-year-old?
For a 19-year-old.
It was a job down in Pittsburgh.
It was in Pittsburgh, yeah.
What was it called again?
It was Holtec International.
I didn't realize that was down in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
All right.
I drove 2 hours every day there.
Well, that's ridiculous.
And then 2 hours every day back. Yep.
Wow. So 8-hour days are actually 12-hour days.
Well, I was working 10s, so it was 14-hour days.
Did you ever just sleep over there or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Took my toothbrush and toothpaste with me and just slept in the car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
But I was right there. That's where I wanted to be in life. I was a 19, 20-year-old kid. I had everything figured out. I had all the toys that I wanted. I was living on my own. Money was not an issue for me at all. And then one day I got the bright idea to join the service. So I gave all that up, and now I'm here.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Wow. So I want to go through that again. You joined the service. What brought that up? Why did you want to join the service? What you said?
It
you have
was
it all figured out. You have you're just comfortable, but then
It's actually because where I was working down there in Pittsburgh, everybody in the shop that I worked at was in the service except one person, and that was me.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, right then from the get-go, I kind of had the feeling all these guys did something extra. They're not just spending their whole life in this little warehouse. They went out and saw things and protected and did things, and kind of got me thinking, I need to do something like that. I'm only 20 years old. I don't need to spend the next 60 years of my life or whatever in this warehouse growing old, never seeing anything or doing anything. So I started talking to recruiters, and next thing I know, I joined. It's actually funny, though, because I was supposed to be a Marine, and I know that Marines hate it whenever people in the Air Force say I was going to be a Marine, but mine was different. I actually had a ship out date for the Marines. I had a job picked out for the Marines. Everything was set. I was going to be a Marine. And then, very last second, what actually happened was, you remember the Syria bombings that happened?
Yeah.
So, I heard about that when I was at work. I heard it over the radio. And in that instant, I thought to myself, it's selfish of me to just wait over here for my job to open up. I need to get over there now. I can't just be sitting around while this happens. So I went to my Marine recruiter, and he said that he couldn't bump me up. He couldn't get me out any quicker because I had already signed all the stuff. And the very next door down was the Air Force recruiter. So I went in, pretty much talked to him, and he said, yeah, we can get you out in 2 weeks. They took all my stuff from the Marines, and
Oh
Go
wow!
to the Air
So
Force.
you actually rose your right hand for the Marines, right? Or,
I didn't raise my right hand for the Marines.
So you weren't actually in yet.
No.
Okay.
But I went when I took my ASVAB. I took it for the Marines. I
Okay.
didn't take it for the Air Force. When I did all that stuff, it was all for the Marines. And then I got swore in as Air Force.
Okay. Did you have a training seat open though for the Marines? Like, you're going to ship out at this date?
Yeah, my ship out
You
date
did.
was August 28th.
That's weird because usually you have to like swear in first, and then they kind of finalize all that. And here's your shipping date. And so I guess you talk about that throughout the process, but yeah.
Yeah, my date was supposed to be August 28th.
Man. Yeah, because that's like, and when you were talking about, I know you were thinking about every branch. Like you had someone at your workplace from each branch, and when you said Marines, I'm like, oh, I got nervous. I keep getting nervous when people because I'm in the Army, so and like I think that's kind of a median between like Marines, Army, and then Air Force. So you're like, Marines hate when the Air Force guys say, I was going to be a Marine.
Well,
it's
they
like
hate it.
polar opposite. That's awesome. But no, it's stuff. I think that's probably a smart choice. I mean, that's what I kind of gear towards people towards, like especially for like education. If you want to help get your education paid for, say National Guard, Army National Guard, or even the Air Guard. I don't know much about the Air Guard, but I assume it's probably a lot similar as far as like
it's pretty much the
education.
same.
Okay, so, but then Marines just like,
Well, even the Guard for the Marines, they have
a reserve.
Yeah, they have a reserve,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing. You know, that's what Justin from church was in. He was in the reserves.
That's right. Yeah. So, what are you most passionate about?
Oh,
baby.
Yeah, I should have thought about that before I sat down.
I don't usually go into the questions I have listed toward the end right until now, but it just seemed kind of like a good tangent.
I'm passionate about, I mean, really anything that I put my mind towards, you know. I don't ever just, give half of myself to whatever I'm doing, you know. If I put my mind on something, it's getting all of my attention, you know. So right now, in this moment, I'm passionate about this video.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
Because, it's not just for you and me. It's for mom and dad and, But I'm helping. Well, when I'm at work, I'm passionate about work. When I'm driving my cars or fixing my cars, I'm passionate about that, I'm not really just passionate about one thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I like that answer. That's awesome. Are you able to is that, but like when you're at work, and you're passionate about work, do you still have like, how do you like kind of section all these passions off then, or is it?
Well, like everybody at work is, car guys and stuff. So
it's
obviously, well, we're at work and they start talking about cars that, just flares up.
Yeah, because I know like
Yeah.
I'll like our whole like our LaVan side of the family, man. Like I'm me and one other
You're
our
the black
uncle,
sheep.
Me and my one uncle, we're the ones who make fun of you guys for being all car guys. Like, yeah, and the older you get, the more you sound like rednecks. Like now I feel like it's wearing off on me too. It's like, I probably sound like a redneck to other people just because I'm hanging out with you guys and stuff. But what kind of got you into like enjoying cars and stuff? Like you're pretty hands on, so that's definitely a good skill to
It
have.
was definitely Dad. From a really young age, it was always Dad. He had a whole bunch of nice cars and trucks growing up. And I just thought the idea of being able to fix something up with your two hands and be able to, use it, I thought that was just the coolest. And I can remember some of the trucks that Dad used to have. He had this piece of crap Toyota pickup truck, and the exhaust fell off of it, and it was so loud, and me and him were riding up to Grandpa's in it, and he made me plug my ears the whole way because it was too loud. And then I locked myself in it because the locks didn't work.
I thought you were going to say something how like you had to crawl underneath and tie it with like your belt or something.
No, that did happen, but not on that one.
Wait, oh yeah.
Wait,
tell us that story. You tied a muffler or something with your belt.
Yeah, that was a church retreat. We were taking the church bus to Camden, Ohio, or something like that. And on the way back, I was tired, so I fell asleep. And next thing I know, somebody's waking me up saying the exhaust just fell out of the bus, and I was the only one there that was mechanically inclined, so they wanted me to go down and look at it. It's like, okay. So I went down there, and the exhaust pretty much just rusted off. And the only thing I had was my leather belt that I was wearing around my waist. So I took my belt off and just wrapped it around the frame with an exhaust pipe, and it wasn't dragging anymore. So.
Yeah. Whatever happened to that belt?
Oh, it got burnt to a crisp.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I never got it back.
Didn't they give you like some like?
They gave me a girl belt back.
Oh
They're
my
like,
God.
"Oh, thanks for helping out.
Here's a
Here's
gag
your belt."
gift.
Yeah,
It's like, actually that belt was like $15.
yeah, it was an expensive belt.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So how does do you think that like you're growing up with being like tech savvy, mechanically inclined, being good, hands on? Do you think that helped like your decision as far as joining the military?
Well, whenever I went to join the military, I wanted to be a welder in the military
yeah.
because that's what I did. That's what I knew. That's what I liked doing. I enjoyed it a lot. But the job that I got, the way that it happened was whenever I was going through the Air Force recruiting part, all their welding jobs were booked, and they put me in as just open mechanic. And I figured, if I get something mechanical, I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the least mechanic job out there.
Which is what?
The air freight unloading and loading up cargo. Like, I'll use.
So not even dealing with the actual plane, but the stuff that's in the plane.
We get to drive a lot of stuff. Like, I drive tanks and Humvees and 60K loaders and stuff like that. So I mean, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, because you get to drive all this stuff, but it's not mechanic stuff. It's all. I mean, it's all hands on though, so that's why I like it.
Did you ever? How soon did you realize you'd want to do the military? Are you kidding me?
Was that 12 o'clock?
No, this is some fire drill, and it's gonna do this for a few minutes. Here's a quick intermission. I'll probably get a little intermission in there.
Do that fake, like, drink a coffee and act like we're talking kind of thing. It's like, hey, I mean, we're doing good. We're doing good, man.
We're having like an intermission, like you can't even hear us. Yeah, that's great. That's such a good idea. I'm gonna do that. We'll be back in 60 seconds. We'll be back in 50 seconds. We'll be back in 40 seconds. We'll be back in 30 seconds. We'll be back in 20 seconds. We'll be back in 10 seconds. All right, finally,
we are back.
Intermission is done. Matthew was actually the one who came up with that clever idea to make this like an intermission thing, so you can blame him if you didn't like sitting through that.
But if you absolutely loved it, make sure you go to my YouTube channel and subscribe.
Get out! You know, links in the description. Oh my gosh. So what I was saying last was, do you think? What was I saying last?
I was the passionate and the
right. So do you think like you're growing up like well, no, Dad, I was asking about your how long did you realize?
Yeah. So
cause that's something like you can't plan. Like when I was in high school, I didn't know I was going to join the National Guard. Actually,
the first time I thought about it was whenever you joined. Believe it or not,
oh, yeah?
I was like, I mean, man, Grandpa was in. Well, actually, both grandpas were in. My brother's in. Maybe I should get in. And I can't remember if it was my junior or senior year. I actually talked to an Army recruiter. So I've talked to 3 recruiters about joining. It's funny. I talked to an Army recruiter, and after talking to him for a little bit, I kind of decided that I didn't want to go to the Army, and I wanted to more pursue, more of a personal life than a military life at that point. And I was content with that up until I started working at Holtec, and I got talked into joining the military again. Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of talked myself into it, so it's been in my head for
a while.
Yeah. I just never did anything about it until last
senior year of high school. I mean, you're only 21, so it's only been a few years, but yeah.
Well, senior year of high school is when I talked to the recruiter.
Oh, you were like 7. Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, you joined, what, 7 years ago?
6.
6? I mean, that's when I started thinking about it, was whenever you joined.
Yeah. Man.
I remember whenever you graduated, you were sitting, or you guys were standing underneath the atrium or whatever you guys called it over there for some reason, in your little squadron thing.
Okay.
I don't know what they're called in the Army. But I remember
platoon.
My dad wanted me to go tell you something or something like that. Okay. And so there was the circle track right outside of where you were. Yeah. And he told me to run the track to go to you. I'm like, Dad, we're in an Army, basic Army base, training. Yeah. I don't want to run on this track.
Down in Missouri, Fort Leonard, Missouri.
That was fun.
And did you end up coming and see me and saying something to me, or what did he
want? You introduced me to a couple of your friends. I don't remember what their names were. Oh, it's dope. Yeah. But I ended up running because I got on the track and started walking, and Dad yelled at me from the parking lot to start running. I'm like, okay. So I ran.
I'm surprised, like, none of the drill sergeants walking out. It's like, what's this guy in civvies doing? Oh, that's great. But I guess they would know it was a family day or something like that. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm also really curious about, because you actually moved out of mom and dad's before me. Yeah. Technically, and that's a big thing I can see people really being worried about growing up, from transitioning from being in high school and then moving out, potentially going to school, this and that. I lived with our parents until I was like 21, and then I just moved out a year ago. But you had a different story. How did that go?
Well, I moved out pretty much right after high school. One of my friends, actually one of my best friends, I was just in his wedding this past weekend.
Congratulations.
It wasn't
for being there at the wedding.
Yeah, I was the best man.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I looked pretty good, not gonna lie. Mm-hmm. But he just inherited or something, some land with a little house on it, and since we were so good friends, he kept asking me to come out and live with him because he wanted to live not with his parents, but he didn't want to live by himself yet. Mm-hmm. And so I went and I lived with him. Rent was $100 a month, and we got free gas. And,
oh, dude, that's dope.
Yeah, it was really cheap, and it was really good because, it was only a half hour away from the house. So if I wanted to go home, it wasn't that big of a drive, and it was closer to work than Mom and Dad's was. So I went there, and then after that, I moved to Ohio for my trade school, my welding school. So I lived on my own there too, and that was paying, rent and gas and electric and water, just everything. So you definitely grow up quick whenever you just get out there and do it.
Whenever your best friend inherits a house on land. He's like,
shut up.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, go ahead and finish your statement.
So, yeah. I mean, whenever I was out in Ohio, we'll say that one.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when I was out in Ohio and I was living on my own.
That was for your schooling?
My schooling.
That was 9 months schooling or something?
Yeah.
What's it called again?
10 months. It was Hobart Institute of Welding Technology. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you definitely grow up quick and you learn how to budget and how to save and where you can spend money and where you can't. This is actually kind of funny. When I first got out there, I had no money to my name. It was the middle of winter. It was January, February when I got out there. And I had no money, so little money that I didn't even run my heat in my house because it cost too much. I couldn't afford it. And finally, mom and dad came out to visit me, and as a present, they gave me a little space heater. And so what I used to do was I would plug the space heater into my bathroom, because my bathroom was the smallest room in my house. I'd heat it up to 68 degrees, unplug the space heater, and go to sleep with 5 blankets on top of me in my bathtub.
What?
And when I wake up,
man.
I'd be freezing. But that was the only way I could at least fall asleep, was because I would be warm enough that I could fall asleep, and I'd wake up freezing cold with 5 blankets on top of me in my bathtub.
That's so sweet.
I mean, so I'm not saying that it's easy moving out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's definitely not. But like that, you learn real quick how to spend your money,
Make things work.
Make things work.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, we're excited. My roommate and I were excited because the cold weather has left us, so we have to run the heater, the heat nonstop. So they'll take that bill down. But now it's hot, so now we're just running this air conditioner. So it just doesn't stop. There's a couple of days where we'll just keep just the windows open. That's fine. But we're just like not gonna worry about pinching pennies too much. But sometimes if you have to, you have to. But as far as sleeping like in the cold, I prefer sleeping in the cold than obviously because just putting like extra blankets on top usually does the trick. But
yeah, but whenever it's
freezing,
yeah, it's not fun.
It's not.
I mean,
in a bathtub.
Well, even before I got the space heater, I'd sleep in my bed, and I had every blanket in the house on top of me, and I was still freezing. And the room was so cold you could see your breath in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl I was dating at the time, she kept getting mad at me because I was telling her that I only eat 1 meal a day, and it's like ramen noodles because it's all I can afford, and I don't heat my house because I can't afford it. She used to get mad at me because she thought I wasn't doing it because I was doing it because I wanted to save money, not because I couldn't afford it. And she's like, you need to eat, you need to heat your house. It's like, I can't do it. I'm trying. I can't.
How did when did you start? When were you able to start using the heat and eating more than 1 meal a day? Maybe.
I got a job. I was a pizza delivery boy.
Okay. Oh, so that's because you're going to school and stuff. Okay, because I was just straight up schooling and stuff. Right. It's not like an internship or anything.
Right. It's a straight up school.
How long was that every day?
The school was from 7 in the morning till 5.
9 hours.
Yeah.
Just a full day.
Well, you got an hour of lunch too.
Okay.
So it ended up being like 8 hours.
So how do you have room for that and a job?
Well, Papa John's, they do late night deliveries, so I'd get off school at 5, go home, shower, shave, stuff like that, and be at work by 5:30, and I'd work from 5:30 till anywhere between 11 to 1 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't fun.
Man, and then grind it out the next day.
9
months of
that.
Again. Mm-hmm. Dude, wow. I didn't realize that about you, man. Hard work. I mean, I realize you're a hard worker, but like geez.
If you didn't know that, there's probably something else you didn't know. To save up for school, I worked 2 full-time jobs. So I had Sports Figures and Sharp Shopper, and I was working Sports Figures 5 days a week, 8-hour days, and then I was working Sharp Shopper 7 days a week. And I just did all that. Every penny that I had, I just put in my savings account, and I was able to pay for school in cash whenever I took the school. But then I didn't realize that I had to use so much money for an apartment and stuff like that, and that's where all the money, freezing, that's where all that came in, because I didn't think about it in my head that I was going to need all that.
Right.
Yeah, so I thought I'd be gold once I got my school paid off, and it definitely helped, but...
Right. Yeah, the only thing I can relate to in that sense of hard work is going to college and then having... I worked at McDonald's for like 4 years, not straight on and off sort of deal, because I was going to like basic. I think I got a job at McDonald's first in high school, and then like a few months after that I joined the Army, and then I went to basic, and then so I wasn't working at McDonald's. And then when I got back at the end of my senior year, I got the job back at McDonald's, and then I left for AIT then. And after I came back from AIT, then I just got that job back at McDonald's, and then I stayed there for like 2 years. Became a swing manager, and then started working nights.
towards like the last year I was working there. So during the semester, I remember the last semester I did that. I would work Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday night into Monday morning, and I had like a class Monday morning. I mean, I just start the whole day. So I was like, and I mean, I actually really enjoyed working nights. It was like I just liked it. There's less drama. Well, kind of. Depends on how you see it, but I just like the atmosphere better. There's got closer with the people during night shift and stuff. But then you went back to that Monday morning, had this like anthropology class. I was like, she's gonna think I'm like being a jerk and stuff. But like I try to hide it and stuff. But it's insane. So nothing as insane as pinching pennies for the old heat and ramen noodles, but. Yeah, that's so funny because when I moved here, the first thing I bought is a pack of ramen noodles over there, which I actually haven't opened yet this whole year. That's like one of the first things I bought this whole year, and I haven't opened them yet. I'm making some pierogies.
I'll tell you what my favorite cheap dinner was you take some chicken ramen noodles, you make those up, and then you get some instant rice, and you put the instant rice in it. And then if you're feeling froggy, you can get some potatoes and like peas and stuff, put it in there.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It only cost like 11 cents.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Especially if you buy in bulk. What would your like perhaps advice be for someone who's about to graduate high school and like think about moving out? Like, what would your advice be for that?
So I actually think I've given you this advice before, and this advice actually helped me a lot. Is right out of the gate, right out of high school, you're not going to find your career because you need experience, you need schooling, you need all of that stuff. So right out of the gate, don't be worried about finding your career. Find a job. Just get some income coming in, because you don't have to work a job for forever. Like you with McDonald's and me with my other stuff. I mean, if it's something like McDonald's, just get a job, get something on your resume, get some money coming in. Even if it's minimum wage, it's still something. Don't sit around mom and dad's house for 3 years trying to find a job and end up having to work at fast food for the rest of your life. I mean, just get your foot in the door somewhere, go to your school, and then get your career. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Don't waste time. Me, right after I got out of high school, I started working because I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and saved every penny that I could, did it, came back, and everything just happened to work for me.
Nice.
So yeah, just don't worry about getting a career out of the gate. Just get a job, and then look for your career while you're at your job.
Absolutely. I think I just had someone over yesterday, and we had the last episode. And we touched on something similar about just getting out there, getting that experience, getting that exposure. So yeah, absolutely. I just now thought about this when I was just like listening to you answer that, and it's I've actually this past year, Connor got me into working out with him at the gym and stuff. And the first thing I ever said is like, after the first day of working out, it's like, I could beat my little brother arm wrestling. He's like, it might take a little bit more than that. So at some point we'll arm wrestle, see if I can beat you now.
You can't.
I know. Freaking massive Matt over here.
Massive Matt.
Yeah. Even massiver Mike over here.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Massiver Mike.
Massiver Mike +1. What? That makes no sense. I keep forgetting to do this in the beginning of the podcast. Now people think this is actually just part of the podcast. How I say I forget to ask people, but I literally do. On a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you have life figured out?
Wow. If you would have asked me that a year and a half ago, I would have said an 8.
Because you actually thought that, or you just like young and naive?
Because I actually thought it.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was right where anybody my age should have been. Actually, I was doing better than anybody my age should have been. I was doing better than most adults were doing. I had it figured out. I knew what I wanted. I went out and got it. Life was good. Right now, 1 or 2.
Wow. Wow, this is so funny because this is more of a gag question where you give me a number and I say, oh man, you missed the cut. You're supposed to have an 8 to be able to be on the show. But that was actually that's a deep answer for a joke question. Jeez,
Mm-hmm.
So like just the idea that you might feel like you have it figured out, but then in a few years
Yeah.
you have it less figured out than when you
Yeah.
thought you did.
Well, I mean, I did join the service after that, and I signed 6 years of my life up to the service, and I know what I'm going to be doing for the next 6 years because it's in a contract. But after that, I don't know what I'm going to be doing.
Right.
So it's still a mystery.
Well, don't worry about it because you'll get out before me. I just reenlisted like a few weeks ago, so.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're thinking down, just be like, well, I'm getting out before my brother. That's hilarious.
Yeah, but even though you're an NCO and have been in for 6 years, I probably still have more hours in. Oh.
In what sense?
Well, active duty time.
Well, yeah. I guess yeah. Because this past year I'm on ADOS orders now. So in the Army National Guard, this is for anyone who's like interested in joining the military. All we can really speak of is Army National Guard and also the Air Force active because that's how we have our experience in. But in the Army, you have active Army who are the guys who are stationed somewhere or getting deployed and overseas. Not always, but then you also have part-time Army, which is what I am, so National Guard, which every state has their own. So I'm in the Pennsylvania Army National Guard. Ohio has an Ohio Guard, blah blah, this and that, and then you also have reserves. If you want to go for like educational purpose, don't join the reserves because they have less money. So go for the National Guard because we're not just funded federally from the government like the reserves are. We're also funded by the state, so we have two pools of money to grab for education purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get oftentimes 100% college tuition paid for. Like I went to Clarion University. Any like state school will offer that, and then you get that GI Bill from the federal side. And where were we going with this?
We were talking about how well life is figured out, and the military, and yeah, we went down a rabbit hole. I don't know where we're at now.
Yeah, I totally forgot. I had a good point, but then I started going off tangents and stuff. Shoot, I did this last time too. I have to get better at that. What were we talking about there?
We started out with the question of
having life figured out and stuff.
Let's go 1 to 10,
that,
and then I was talking about how I had it figured out pretty good. Now I don't, and then the 6 years, and you're getting out before I am. And
oh, wait, talking about part-time. Okay,
yeah.
So I'm talking about how I'm ADOS. So also in the Army National Guard, that's a part-time thing as well as the reserves. So you're doing like the 1 weekend a month, 2 or 3 weeks in the summertime. But also in the National Guard, you have active guard or ADOS, and they're like your recruiters, your supply sergeants, your training NCOs, people who are at your unit that you go to, who that's their job every day. They're in uniform every day. Recruiters, they can wear soft cell like khakis and a shirt that says National Guard, but oftentimes in my uniform every day. So I don't have AGR, active guard, is the more career oriented path, but ADOS is like your foot into getting towards AGR. ADOS stands for Active Duty Operational Support, and it goes off of a contract basis. So my contract here, or my order basis, my orders are only up until September, and then if they don't need me by the September, I won't be able to re-sign and keep going on. But that's something I have to think about down the road. That's a long rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's a long one. I got kind of bored.
Yeah, it's like, who are we talking to today? Yeah. Me or you? It's awesome. We kind of touched about this. I asked this kind of question earlier about what advice you'd give someone, but I'm sure this is a different answer. What advice would you give someone just coming out of high school who doesn't know what they actually want to do in life? So we talked about how to get your hit the ground running, but
so this is just from my personal experience. If you don't know what you want to do getting out of high school, do a trade, whether it be mechanics, welding, plumbing, carpentry, because those jobs are never going away. The schooling's cheaper. Most of them you don't even need schooling for, and most of them pay better than just about any other job that you can get. So if you don't know what you want to do, hit a trade, and you might even like it. If you don't like it, just work it until you find out what you want to do, and then go from there.
Nice. That's awesome. think we're going to transition into these questions now that I like to ask everyone, which
Alright.
we've already hit a couple.
Okay.
What gives you purpose?
Oh man,
See, everyone reacts to that one. Maybe I have to put this one down towards the bottom because I hit them with that one. It's 5 words or it's 4 words, but everyone's like, "Man, just coming out swinging, aren't you?"
I don't know what.
What gives Matthew LaVan purpose? It's about to get real emotional in here.
I don't even know. You even told me you're going to ask this question.
In the beginning, I was like,
still
"Yeah,
have no
yeah,
idea.
I just there's like," and then we'll wrap it up. I'll ask you questions like, "What gives you purpose?" You know the thing. And
Yeah.
it's like an hour later, it's like, shoot.
I don't know.
Well, think about something that you can't.
Probably like, just friends and family, doing it for, everything that I do, doing it for not only myself but, so that somebody else can benefit from it. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Doing something that's bigger than me for somebody else. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a purpose or not, but
No, it is. Definitely. I just love this question. I don't know why. If someone asked me off the spot, like if they had me on their podcast and asked me this, I'm not sure what I'd answer. I give them a joke answer. But yeah, I'd probably say not touching the stove. But here's the question. What advice did your parents give to you as a kid that you're only now appreciating as an adult?
What advice they gave
Do they
me?
like maybe even like a rule they told you like, "Hey Matt, don't do this," and you're like, "What? I want to do that." You know?
Well, I mean, this really isn't so much advice as something that they did. Because we grew up in the same house. We got disciplined as kids, right?
Yeah.
That helped so much. I mean, you can walk into a store, you can go into work, do whatever, and you can tell which kids were disciplined growing up and which ones weren't. Sometimes I act like a dirtbag. Everybody does every once in a while.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But definitely just getting started out on the right foot, being taught what was right from wrong and, having a consequence to all my actions, that definitely helped. And, as a kid, you don't think about it like that. I can just remember getting my butt smacked and then running to mom because dad smacked my butt, and mom would just be like, "No, you're an idiot, you got in trouble." I'm like, "Oh, come on now." That only happened a couple of times, but
No, you're an idiot.
but that helped a lot, just making sure you have the support system to get you straight from the get-go.
That's one thing I will say about what I've seen our parents is very like morally straight, have the strong path correctly and stuff, and being able to do that, because like growing up you think like, man, because like you only know your parents as your parents and you think they've been like alive all the time, like forever, and they know everything, but like we're the same age as our parents when they got married and they had us, and
Yeah,
do you feel like you could be like as good parents as they I mean, definitely strive towards it, but like, yeah, now they're probably getting big heads listening to us like talking about them like this. But
I remember one time Dad was at work, and it was me, you, and McKenna, and Mom was watching us, and we all did something. I can't remember what we did, but Mom went to give us all a smack. And you were the oldest, so you got yours first, and you started laughing because it didn't hurt. So then I got my smack and started laughing because it didn't hurt. And then McKenna was laughing before she even got smacked. She got smacked and went boom right to tears.
Oh, poor girl. Yeah, and like she's 4 years younger than me, 2 years younger than you. She's the youngest, and yeah. Well, that's so funny. I remember that. I don't know what we did, but
I don't either.
Aww.
It was worth it though.
Yeah, Mom. I think Mom didn't like that.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
I apologize.
But yeah, this is kind of like a meta question. I keep saying that. I should look up the word meta. What meta actually means. I'm probably misusing that, but What is the end goal?
The end goal, honestly, I've had my end goal figured out for a long time, and it is just to live, a mediocre life. I don't need to be a millionaire. I don't need fancy cars. I don't need anything like that. The only thing I want is roof over my head, food, a wife, kids, and that's it. If I can do well enough to support that, that's what I want.
That's awesome. What are the components of a meaningful life?
Well, I definitely think just like support, whether you get it from siblings, friends, parents, a spouse. Support is definitely a big part of a meaningful life. That's what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaningful life.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely a big part of it. Just having always having somebody in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, making the best out of every situation, obviously. You're going to be dealt some crappy situations, but it's just your outlook on it, Like, don't let 1 minute ruin an entire day. Just roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably another one, is just go with the flow, be easy going. I mean, that's how I got through it. Just go with the flow. If somebody makes fun of you, just shrug it off. Get some thick skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can make fun of yourself too. I mean, that's always fun.
Yeah.
Make fun of yourself.
And your little brother.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have a little brother.
No.
Sorry.
So well,
you can't
I
relate.
do. He's smaller. You're littler.
Yeah, we're arm wrestling.
You're littler.
We're arm wrestling for the video. We're gonna do that.
Littler.
I've been waiting a whole year to take my rightful title of bigger, stronger brother back, and I'm so excited to get it.
I remember whenever we were in the track locker room, and John Kennison and who was it else? I think it was Kevin and me were all down there. We were talking about that, they're all the older siblings of their family, and they're talking about putting beat downs on their younger siblings. And I was like, I don't think Michael could do that to me. And they all looked at me and they're like, no, he couldn't.
Come on. Well, it's not completely true. Okay, yeah, and like brute force, yeah, but like then what? How about that one time in gym class? Like
what happened that one time in gym class is I got my butt kicked.
Yeah, because we were doing boxing and you're just like super slow.
So
you're like,
slow.
Ooh. I'm like whoosh, and you're like ooh. I'm like whoosh.
He was like pop, pop.
Yeah. And I didn't want to hurt you, so the most I did was like pop, like do like these like small jabs. But then, yeah, then you fought someone who's like so. I guess you're bigger and slower, but then after that, you're like, you picked on the next biggest, slowest guy.
The Colby Shoecart.
Yeah. And then he was like the same thing. Like, you were getting
slow.
low and everything, and he was like swinging over your head and stuff, and you're just like grabbing on him and stuff, and everyone's like, oh! So in boxing, I guess the little guy has an advantage. Well, not really. If you're professional boxing, it's all about reach, I think. But I think that does it for all the questions I have. Now I'm literally gonna put this down, and I want to arm wrestle you. So
you want to arm wrestle me?
Yes, I do.
Oh man, I don't know, man.
It's happening. It's a little unorthodox, but we're doing it.
Oh man, you got my pit stains in the stinking camera now. Make sure you don't put that part in.
We'll go ahead and put that on the. Actually, no, I'm good.
Put it on the ground?
No, we still need some audio here.
Well, don't put it on that side.
Don't put it on that side.
That's the way you're going.
That's the way I'm going. No, it's not.
Yeah, no, it's cords in the way. Alright, I'll scoot over a little more this way so you have a little bit more room.
Let's just make sure we can. Okay, yeah, this is good.
Where do you want to put your hands? Put your hands up on the table.
Sounds like a plan. Right?
Yeah.
This is for all those years you beat me, and I'm getting it back because I've been getting absolutely massive at the gym, at the Y. Shout out to the Y in Clarion. Right?
Yeah.
You want to count together?
No, you say go.
All right, go. Okay, best 2 out of 3. Just one more, please. Come on, give me a shot.
Okay, and go.
I'm sliding.
Yeah. All right.
This
Well,
is
that's
not the best table
that's so
to do
dumb.
on.
We're not. That, arm wrestling's stupid.
Actually, you were talking a big game there. I started getting scared.
I know. I guess it just doesn't matter how much like freaking just natural hard work, welding and stuff always beats that more processed lifestyle of going to the gym. Man, well, Matthew, it's been so great having you on the show.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm glad that you had time to come up and do this because it's
Height.
always
Height.
what?
That means yes.
Oh, height. Oh, in Japan.
Yeah. Height.
Japanese. Oh, dude, how say it?
Height.
Well, that means
Yes.
yes. Height.
So whenever I first got to Japan, I was doing my orientation to get in, and the lady doing the orientation was a Japanese lady.
Yeah.
And no joke, in one sentence, she said height 15 times. And I thought she was saying hi. So every time she said height, I was like, hi. Like, hi.
He's like, whoa, yeah.
You already said hi to me. You don't have to keep saying it.
It must be like a Japanese custom. Just
Height.
like, it's like, hey, welcome to McDonald's. Can I help you? Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Well, dude, thanks once again. It was a pleasure having you on, and I'll love to see you. I can't wait to.
I just got to say one last thing.
What's that?
You're so kawaii.
What does that mean? I think that's it.
It means you're so cute.
Well, guys, I was not able to beat my little brother at arm wrestling, but it's all in good fun. So, Matthew, good job. You beat your older brother at arm wrestling once again. And, I know you weren't shocked about that. He called me out in the beginning of the video. He's like, yeah, you're not going to win. I'm like, oh, you're right. So, I hope you guys got something out of this. I know I did. It's just a good perspective to have, especially for like a lot of people. I think that not everyone has life figured out, and not everyone has life like handed to them. There's a lot of hard work involved in becoming an adult. I didn't realize that about my younger brother, that he essentially slept in a bathtub just to save some pennies, and that story does sound ridiculous, but that really just shows you the amount of the dedication in order to provide for himself and grow up and become a man. So don't feel discouraged if you feel like you're working harder than the guy next to you. You probably should be. If you're doing that, you're probably doing something right. Taking the initiative, being a proactive person rather than a reactive one, will give you a huge advantage over people in the real world. That's all I have for you this week. Thank you so much again, Matthew, for swinging on by. Also, Mom and Dad, if you're watching this, I hope you enjoyed it. We love you very much. And Matthew, we all love you very much. So stay safe over there, and we can't all wait to have you back over and back in the States. So be safe. I love you. And everyone else, see you guys next week in next week's episode. Bye.